Explain to me the greatest moments. You just recently did some on the greatest moments.
Yeah, I really hadn't put it out, but I'm gonna get you the thing. So, the 10 greatest moments, and hold up, I got you. I started off like light, right? Number 10 is the day Cripping was born in '69 with Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the whole city of Los Angeles knew about it. I'd be amazed if the whole East Side, knew about it. It was a moment that the greatness was there, even if everybody else didn't see, but it became the seed to one of the greatest cultural phenomenons that ever happened. And great doesn't mean good or bad. It means impactful.
True.
Right? So
yeah, you can define it exactly how you just said it.
So that's the first thing. Number 9 is the Palladium murder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the murder, right, as much as what happened after what happened to Robert Ballou, right? Is the news for the first time started talking about this urban idea and this urban kind of community thing going on. And then that's when, doing the homework, it starts sending shockwaves throughout the city at a mainstream level.
Let me tell you how right you are, because that was the point that the Crips was blasted all across the Herald Examiner, and they named Raymond Washington as public enemy number 1. So that was the catapult. The catapult. Yeah. So go ahead.
So now at number 8 with Colors, right? And the reason I chose Colors and not the BBC doc, not banging on Little Wax, is I think Colors became like this weird catalyst, right? Because I think when the documentary came out has possibly my favorite Crip of all time, Turtle in the motherfucker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to talk about it like that because these are living people, but the thing about Cripping is it's a lot of personality in the guys you like.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like these, fucked up ass people. It's usually somebody who really could probably convince you to do anything for them because they charisma. That's what I like
Skate
about
ring partner.
Yeah, what? Feel me? And I don't like I love that nigga, right? So people like Dogg, right? People who have all of this charisma.
You know who remind me of Turtle though is the way he move and how he can.
Perico.
BG Perico.
Slim is
He reminds me. Yeah. But go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
No, so I like the Colors film because I think to us it didn't mean as much, but I think the world at a level said they all looked and was like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, is this real? And I think, when you think of that early doc that the BBC did on the Santanas, the homies, and when you think about Banging in Little Rock, because that, to me, I think that meant a lot to us, because we didn't even, I remember being a kid watching HBO, seeing that shit. Remember when the boy got hit with the K and knocked the meat off his arm and his skin, like, it became like a piece. I think Colors became, to the white people around the country, like, holy shit. Like, is this real? It's not really a super informative film about gangbanging, but
it was more exposure.
Man.
The
from
exposure.
The police perspective,
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is these?
Right.
What's going on? So I stayed right there. What I liked about the Summer Jam is because you never seen it. It hit the music industry as a big fight. Like, oh, this is something we're going to have.
And that was 2000, right?
So this 2002.
Okay.
Because I think even in the 90s, like I talked about the Fresh Fest with some of the Long Beach homies, and that was a big thing. I talked to a lot of the early homies about the early 80s with Uncle Jam's Army.
Man, we whooped on Uncle Jam's Army one night at Alpine Village so bad.
They said it used to be some crazy phase.
Yeah.
But I think the Summer Jam forced the music industry at its whole, where it was like, I remember them talking about that shit on the radio.
And don't get me wrong, we didn't whoop them for nothing. They wouldn't let us in the party, man, so we got mad.
But that's the thing about trying to explain this to somebody who don't get it. They don't really realize it's always a reason. It makes sense. They call it senseless, but no, it makes sense. You just don't understand.
You just don't understand it.
You don't have the detail. So I feel like the Summer Jam in 2002, like I remember them talking about that on the radio.
Excellent.
They were devastated, like,
excellent.
Holy shit. And it actually really, Summer Jam stopped really happening after that. Like, you got to think like that was kind of the end of that station. You know,
yeah, because that was the bill that came along with that was very costly, very high, the deductible.
Yeah. So at number 6, right, Serena Crip walking at the Olympics. That was like, now to us it was like, oh look at, she's crazy, well she a fool. But I think to the world, and I remember the world reacting like, oh, this has reached us. Like this is a pop thing, this is an Olympic thing. And that's what I do like comparing to the BBC doc, right, is it affected the Olympics. But to watch her do that, and I remember that time, and that was at a time when, to me, Crip walking was like really starting to just not be what everybody wanted it to be, and somebody just did it that's from around the way.
Got you.
That shit just meant a lot. I looked up some news articles just to remind me of those times and how people really had a problem with it. And I get it because of what they think it represented. Number 5 was the A Train starting the LA riots. That was like, there's some belief that gang members, I was talking to one of my homies and he felt like if the Ku Klux Klan came walking down Willowbrook that nobody would do nothing. And he lost his mind. I told him, I was like, I had a question on Instagram and I said, if the Ku Klux Klan started a rally, a white pride rally at Crenshaw and Imperial, I said, if they started at Crenshaw and Imperial, right at Crenshaw, and they were walking down Imperial east, I said, which cross street would they get to before that riot, that rally, that parade stops?
Man, you ever seen Autobots?
Nah.
Autobots is with them little gadgets. They come together and make this big.
That's Transformers.
Yeah, that's what that would look like.
And I tried to explain this to some brothers, and it was some brothers that I even.
It would be both Crips, Bloods, and SAs and everybody out there.
2 seconds that the Ku Klux Klan could be where we were, or that we would stand for injustice. We're that ignorant.
If that was the case, why they never tried it?
I keep saying it. I'm like, they know where it's at. If they want the action, they said they're in Orange County, that's 10 minutes. I've never seen them, so where's the action? Bring the action to the people that want the action.
They don't want that smoke.
So I was telling people, and this was the proof that gang members won't stand up for any injustices. I know it because I know homies. I know how I get in. But there was a confusion until that day. And they realized, like, we don't want to piss them off. See, all the rest of these dudes, you gonna get some signs and protesting and, hey, you guys are, with us, heads gonna roll.
Right.
And I think that was the proof. So that's why I had it at number 5. Number 4 was the peace treaty and the PJs. I think that was important because there's a confusion that we don't want peace. Right? If we're motivated with economic opportunities, if
True.
the right reason comes about, you'll see real fast people don't really hate each other.
True. And
there's a confusion, right? And you could attest to this more than anybody. It's going to be people that's the worst enemies of your community. That's some of your oldest partners that you always been cool with the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the beefs are overstated. Believe you me, if you from 60s and you really from A-Tray, like if you from the north and somebody's from the front, y'all got friends from each other's neighborhood. And that's Absolutely. How these peace treaties happen because it really ain't what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Number 3 was the procession after Nip's funeral. You know, and
that was a long procession.
That was personal to me because that was my partner. He was a solid nigga. And to watch a few A-Trays march with the 60s, somebody that came from my generation to a degree, right? That the world could accept and still love him and understand that this wasn't something that needed to happen, to understand how important his death was, for his spirit to be able to leave his body and affect everybody that was always his goal, was to show people that, you know, we more than what we are. And he was a proud Crip the whole time. He never, you know, never ever. He never been the corner, never deviated. This is who he is.
That was who he was.
And that was important to me. That's so important to me that culturally
stood on it.
We are who we are. It don't mean we got to be what you want us to be, but we are who we are. And for the world to accept him, you know, in that situation, and finally You know, I hate he doesn't get to get his flowers personally, but it was dope to watch Russell Westbrook drop 20-20-20 for Nip. It was dope to watch the Sixers and 8 trades come together in March for Nip. It was dope for, you know, he didn't get a chance to sell out the Staples Center. He didn't get to that point in his career. But then when it's time for his funeral, it's a sold out.
That's so unfortunate, man, because he's so big right now.
Man,
huge.
He can't.
He never was that in life.
He can't gloat. He can't call me and pop it.
Right.
Gee, you know what I mean?
Right.
The time when he be, you know, celebrating success and he get to call me and pop it and I get to celebrate for him. Yeah, you know, I get to feel that with him. You know, oh man, that's fire. You know, when he did the Palladium, when he did the stuff, it's always dope to have that the $100 CD to be numbered. I got the number 4. I was there and I bought it 4. I was number 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I can't believe you got a line of motherfuckers about to buy your CD for $100.
Huge.
To celebrate that with him. And
huge. Right
now he's the guy and, you know, he can't call me and pop shit like a West Side nigga really would. You see me, nigga, yeah.
Right.
That shit's whack.
Right.
You know, but it's dope to see that even as a Crip, he was honored the way he should have. And
they know how to pop it, man. They let you know. I'm too sexy for my shirt now, boy. Yeah, because he was always taking his shirt off.
Popping, shirt open. Thin as a motherfucker. Yeah. That's my motherfucking low, though. But that was like the number 3 moment. Number 2 is the day Tookie was nominated for the Peace Prize. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that meant a lot to us. Because I don't think most homies really give 2 fucks about winning a Peace Prize. But what I think it meant is how intelligent we could be and how reflective we could be. And I think it...
And it become world. It was world thing. You know. They looked at him differently. Yeah.
It was like, who? You know what I mean?
Right.
And it really got a lot of white people to see the value in our experiences, you know, surviving our oppression.
Change can happen.
Surviving our poverty.
Change is possible. Anybody can change.
Anybody, especially with opportunity.
Right.
He didn't even have no fucking opportunity. They just stuck him in the cage, and this motherfucker wrote something so powerful. They decided to nominate him for possibly the world's greatest award.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it'd have been so much sweeter if he'd have won it, but, you know, the nomination means everything. That means the door is open for the next person that come from the lifestyle to have a shot to win.
And number 1?
Snoop Dogg at the Super Bowl.
Mr. Ron Isley himself.
Let me tell you, man. I'll tell you about this nigga's dog, man. This nigga Dogg, man. Everybody could have something to say about the type of Crip. They, you know, glad he was a rapper. He's a Crip. He's always a Crip. He's a Crip right motherfucking now. He's a Crip male right now. Right motherfucking now. He's on the Super Bowl. This is the grandest stage in the world where they done tripped off Janet Jackson's nipple. They trip off everything. This nigga's wearing a blue bandana suit. Big chunky ones. In front of hundreds of millions of Americans, hundreds of millions of people around the world. Big chunky ones. Crip walking.
He took the Play-Doh, took it out the jar, molded it, and made the mold and took it up and held it up to the world. Say, here's what it is right here. It's what it should look like.
I don't care what you think of this motherfucker. You got to put respect on Cuz' name that day and forever. Because he's fighting a murder case, but he never bowed down. He's in a room with all of the motherfucking, all of the richest motherfucker where he never bowed down. He's talking to Martha Stewart. This lady is a success icon in the chef world, never bows it down. His cousin Martha Stewart, he's on the news with Jillian Barbery. They talking about gang like, yeah, cuz, well, he never turns it down. He's him, or he's proud to be what he is. And that has to be the greatest moment.
Awesome.
Because the world has made a lot of people fold, and the world never made him fold. He's going to be who he is.
Man, I appreciate that, man. That was definitely a great 10, man. Man, Professor Melly Mill, Glasses Malone.
And Swat.
Lock the door.
I'm the hood postman, always got motion, always keep motion. I'm the hood postman, 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 I'm the hood postman. On the dead homies, like Rennie Loken, yeah.